Hello, welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And for the month of April, we'll be talking about narcissists and narcissistic personalities. And last week in the episode, we discussed characteristics of a narcissist, things that you may not know or you may not have thought about, ways that narcissists think, and then my experiences with narcissists. So today, I want to continue this discussion and talk about how a narcissist works, their cycles that they execute, what they think and what they value, and they're both surprise and predictability. So when I talk about these things, first of all, I'm in no way formally educated in psychiatry or psychology. This is merely talking about what I've learned through my experiences and talking with others. And I want to share it with you. But when we talk about narcissists and their cycles, what I mean is you can predict what's coming next. Even though you can't predict the details, you can predict what's coming next. There's 3 parts to the cycle of a narcissist and the way they operate. And the first is the love bombing part of the cycle. And then there's, after the love bombing part, then there's the devaluation part of the cycle. And then there's the discard phase. Now, in between those phases, there can be vicious cruelty, there can be manipulation, there can be guilt, and the cycle can be very confusing. There's very confusing parts and to the cycle, but those 3 things will remain tried and true, and those 3 things will stay the same. They're predictable, yet when they happen, depending on the extent and the degree, it can be very shocking. Even though you know it's going to happen, the level is still shocking. So we'll dive right in. When we talk about a narcissist, they automatically, remember from last week, they automatically have this grandiose idea of self-worth, of self-importance. And because of that, and because the narcissist thinks so highly of themselves, they tend to be very charismatic people. They know how to draw people in to them. They know how to draw people into their emotions, to their feelings. They basically know how to get people hooked. And so you'll see a narcissistic person, usually surrounded by individuals, surrounded by people that, adore them or love them or want to hear more about them or want to get to know them. They're very likable people at first. And, because of this, they'll continue to talk and continue to draw you in. And they talk about themselves constantly. That's all they talk about is themselves. And if something kind of strays if the conversation goes a different direction, the narcissist will redirect the conversation back to them, always. It's always about them. The attention always has to be on them. And that can be subtle. And if you're not looking for it, and at first, you're wanting to know this person. So of course you're wanting to talk more about them. You're wanting to learn more about them. So you want them to talk about themselves. You want them to tell you more about this fascinating person that's in front of them, right? And so, that's the thing. Narcissists usually surround themselves by people who want to hear about them. And that's the first part of it, is that you're drawn in. Then once a relationship is developed, a friendship, maybe a co-workership, a colleague, maybe it's romantic, familial, whatever it is, friend. Once that relationship is established, then they just begin to praise you. Oh, you're such a wonderful person. You are so good. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And, make you feel that there's something special about you. So they begin to turn things to where occasionally they'll just give you a crumb that you're so special. You're so special. I love you so much. You're such a wonderful person. You're so likable. You're so, and that is the hook that keeps the person coming back. So you have that first thing, and everything is in this relationship, whatever it is just all flowers and rainbows. It's all fun and laughter and everything's amazing. And then, as long as you're focused on the narcissist, everything's perfect. That's how they keep people around. You praise me, I'm going to praise you. You give me attention, I'm going to give you attention. But I have to have more than you, but I'll give you just enough to keep you coming back, to keep you wanting more. And it's interesting when we think about those kind of things, that this love bombing that I call it, that's the narcissist way of manipulating you, and it's exactly what it is. Because their niceness is to make you, it is to help you feel secure. It's not that they're being nice because they are nice people. It's a way to manipulate you and a way to get you to do what they want. Now, you will just lap this up, or the other person. The other person in this relationship will just lap this up and will just absorb it, because it doesn't come very often. Niceness for a narcissist is just a way to get what they want, a way to get people to do what they need them to do. They're not being nice to you because they truly are nice people. They're not being nice to you because or showering you with good words or good deeds. They're not doing that because that's who they are. They're doing that to control you. And that's one thing that we need to understand. It took me so long to understand that piece right there, that the narcissist is not caring about me because of who I am, but they are caring about me because of what I can do for them, what I can do to lift up this crazy delusional world where they're the most superior and most perfect person ever. And that part hurts. That part hurts very badly. If you've been in this relationship with the narcissist for a long time, and it becomes aha, I didn't realize that. You have your aha moment, and you had no idea that that's the way the relationship worked. It's very painful, and it can hurt a lot. It can cause a lot of harm to your self-confidence, your self-worth, and at times, with however the narcissist chooses to use that for their benefit, it can be very cruel. I've seen this pattern be used in very, very cruel ways. But that's the first step. Getting back to the cycle. The second step is when they don't get what they want. So everything's going great. Everything is wonderful. Life couldn't be happier, or your relationship couldn't be happier. And then, what do you know? You don't do what the narcissist wants. You take one moment and think of yourself. You take one moment and don't put that person first. Whatever relationship it is that you're in, sometimes the narcissist will have you to tie yourself in a pretzel to do what they need. And they make it sound like they need it. They make it sound like it's a need from you, but instead it's a want. They want you to do this. But they put an importance on it. And they put it as only you can do this. Only you can do this. And when you don't do it, then they begin to devalue you. And that's step 2 of the cycle. And that's when the cycle starts going downhill. Because we have to remember that a narcissist will lie without concern for the truth, because their lies are what's useful what's useful for controlling and manipulating others. And pretty soon, the narcissist gets spun into a web of lies. Sometimes they can keep up with it. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes it's hard for them to keep up with it. And then you start to notice maybe that they're spinning out of control. Maybe they're not. Maybe you don't notice. Maybe they are and you don't notice. But you will begin to see little bits and pieces of the unraveling. But a narcissist will lie because they're without concern for the truth, because that's the way to manipulate you to do what they want you to do. And those lies can be little, and they gradually grow. They grow and they build on each other. Some people will say that we're seeing now in the American political environment this whole web of, or this whole cycle of what I'm speaking of. And that can be an argument for another day. But it's interesting to see how these things play out. And another thing that I've experienced with narcissists is their isolation tactic. So a lot of times, in order to make their lies more believable, because you only know it's a lie if you know what the truth is, right? So if you're isolated from the situation and you're told only what the narcissist tells you, that's all you know, then you will believe what they say, because why not? Why not, right? So, one tactic that a narcissist will do is to push you over here and feed you so much knowledge at certain points, and feed you their knowledge of what's happening or what they want you to know, the bits and pieces that they want you to know, because then you will believe the delusional world and the delusional ideas that they have created. And those delusional ideas and thoughts will then boost them up and will make them be or appear to be superior. So that's a vicious cycle. And I know, or that's a part of the vicious cycle. That's a tactic that's used, and that's a tactic that was used a lot in my experiences with narcissists, is that people were isolated. People were isolated from the situation. People were isolated from, what was happening, and therefore they could only believe what they were told by the narcissist, right? Because they had no other way of having or gaining information, because I wasn't offering any information. I wasn't offering any insight. Because I didn't know what was going on. And that's the thing, the narcissist works constantly. And a lot of what they do is behind the scenes. Like, you don't know until after it happens. And sometimes you don't know until after damage has occurred. But in my situation, there were various, or in my experience, there were various situations that were occurring. And in order for the narcissist to seem superior to everyone else, and superior as in the way they played the victim, they would play the victim and then rise to the occasion. And in order to do that, they isolated people and kept people away. No one had any other ideas or thoughts of what was occurring, because there was nobody else giving information. I wasn't giving information because I had no idea this was happening. I was stuck right in the middle of the whole vicious cycle, and I didn't even understand what was going on. It never occurred to me that these things were going on. And it never occurred to me. I think the thing that angers me the most about the whole situation is that it never occurred to me that I was being used for this person's gain. the attention that they sought, it came, the attention that they sought, they got because of me. They used me to get that attention, and to create that superiority. And I wasn't aware of this until years and years and years later. And it was at that point that I began, once I was aware of that, that was where I began to slowly sever the ties with that person. But that's the thing, right? If you don't know, then you can't come up with a solution or a way to fix a problem if you don't even know that it's happening. But we have to remember in this cycle that those kinds of things happen. The narcissist will isolate people. They will lie. They will do anything to keep up the delusional world that they're living in. And they will do anything at all to keep up this idea of their superiority. They will never, ever, ever think that they are lower than what they think they are. They will never, ever, ever think that they're on the same level as other human beings. We're all human beings. That's it. We're all human beings. And they will never think that there's those human beings and there's me. There's those down there and there's me. To a narcissist, they will never be on an equal playing field with others. Another thing that once you're in this cycle, part of the difficulty in breaking free is that the narcissist is unwilling to acknowledge anything that matters to you. And so in doing that, it kind of starts that devaluing process. And it happens from the beginning, but you just don't realize it. But as it's happening, it leaves you feeling empty inside. It leaves you feeling like you don't matter, like you don't belong, like there's something wrong with you. And it just compounds on each other. And it further compounds until it's this big thing. Well, here you are. You don't think you matter. You don't think there's anything important to you. But, oh, there's this wonderful person who is superior to all others around them. And that becomes your thinking. That becomes your thinking. And because of that, that whole thought process that they've now built, they expect you to be their cheerleader. They expect you to be the encourager when you're the one who is in most need of encouragement. They're expecting you to be their advocate. You're going to tell everyone how wonderful they are. You're going to tell everyone how fantastic they are. And they're just going to sit back and listen. They're just going to sit back and listen. They're going to nod. And for that, they will acknowledge you. For those things, you will be allowed to be their friend. You will be allowed to be their family member or their significant other or their colleague. You will be allowed into the circle because of those things. And as as they're doing this and as they're devaluing, it's a constant seesaw that you're playing right now, of who's superior to who, of who's more important, of what lies I need to tell to make me seem like I'm more important. Who do I need to isolate? Oh, this person is saying this. Oh, okay, well, let me push them back a little bit so that I can feed them more of my story, so that they don't find out too much and then think that I'm not as wonderful as I am. And you know, when this happens and this devaluation begins, it shocks you. It comes subtly, and it comes subtly, and you don't realize, and it's very shocking when it does, and then you feel like, oh well, I'm mistaken, because a narcissist will never claim accountability for anything. It's always someone else's fault. It's always someone else's problem. Someone else did that. Oh, that went wrong. It wasn't me that made it go wrong. It was someone else. And that someone else can be anyone in the surrounding area, can be anyone in the narcissist's life. More than likely, that someone is you. More than likely, you said something, you misunderstood, you saw something that wasn't really how it was, or you believed something that really wasn't the way that it was. It's all you. And so, speaking from my experience, I became tangled up in this web, in this idea, in this cycle of, oh, okay, well, I must be a good person because, they're allowing me to have this close relationship with them. But then, oh wait, that's not true, because you misunderstood. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. And so then you begin to think that you're wrong. You're the one that did something wrong. And then comes into play the whole, I can't do anything right. Well, clearly I misunderstood. I can't ever get things right. I never really see the way things are. I never really understand things properly. And then that feeds into that cycle. So it's just so many things in this complex web of lies and deceit and manipulation that feed on each other, to devalue you, to raise the narcissist up, and to keep you locked in. And when you're in that, you really can't see it. You can't see it. You don't understand it. And that would never, ever, ever occur, because the narcissist is the most wonderful person in the world. They wouldn't do that. They surely wouldn't do it to me, because I'm a very special person to them. And that was where I found myself. That was where that was the cycle and the web that I found myself in. So many people find themselves in other situations. But, that was what my experience was. And I had no idea it was going on. I had no idea that it was happening. And I had no idea the damage that was being caused to others by the narcissist using me. It was damaging to me. It was also damaging to others around them. And for that, I'm very sorry. One thing that I struggle with, even like to this day, is why didn't I say something? I mean, this whole cycle is still going on. And I mean, I still think to myself, why didn't I say something? Why didn't I offer a more insight into what was really happening? Why, why this, why that? I do think about that a lot. And that is something that I struggle with. And I think anybody in this situation would struggle with that as well. And it's just something that you have to work on. You have to work on. You have to work on understanding about yourself. You have to work on understanding about the situation. You have to offer yourself grace. All of these things. It's just, life is about learning how to do that. But when we talk about the narcissist, that's the thing, right? It starts out as a love bombing idea, lathering the person with praise and hooking them in and making everything sound interesting and da 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 da. Then, when that person starts to question, the devaluation begins. That person starts to get devalued, and there's that vicious cycle of confusion that you're stuck in. And then the last phase, the discard phase, and it doesn't have to be a total cutout. When I say discard, that doesn't mean, oh, there you go, I'm not going to have anything to do with you anymore. No. It can be that, well, you're not so useful for me. I'm going to put you on this back burner, this very, very, very back burner, and now I'm going to move on to someone else who can take your place in this whole scheme that I have going on. Because now that you have seen my flaws, now that you have seen what's going on, I need somebody that doesn't know so that I can manipulate them, so that I can use them to feed my superiority. So it's a vicious cycle in that way as well. And when you get discarded, that hurts too. Here you are, like, you're best friends with this person. Here you are, you have a romantic relationship with this person. Here you are, and you have a familial relationship with this person. Maybe this was a coworker that you really looked up to, a colleague that you wanted to be like. So many different things like that. And now all that's gone. Now you're alone. All that's gone. You're not as wonderful as this person made you think that you were. So really, what are you? Are you a good person? Are you not a good person? Are you valuable in any way? Who are you? And who is that person to you now? And then it's fixing that damage that has occurred. And that's the discard phase. And then the cycle for the narcissist, the cycle begins again. They begin to find a different victim, find a different person to use, and then the rising, then the devaluation part, the falling, and then the discard. And that cycle just repeats over and over in the life of the narcissist. And what's interesting is even though you know that, and you know that this person can treat people that way, you never think it's going to be you. So even when you become kind of somewhat aware, you start to see the patterns and see the similarities and see all these things. You don't think that person's ever going to treat you that way, right? That's the thing. And until they do, because you really are no different. You're just another pawn to be used in their game. So it's interesting to when you think about it, and it's interesting when I think about it, because so many times I saw these challenges, I saw these things happening to other people, but I never thought it would happen to me. And then it finally did, which made it even more painful and more cruel. And then I didn't know what to do. And then I had to begin the healing process, and I had to go through all of the things necessary in learning how to deal with these things. But as I said before, the first part is to notice. We have to notice these things. If you don't know there's a problem, then you cannot come up with a solution. If you don't know there's a problem, then you don't know what needs to be fixed. And so that's why I'm pointing out these things, and I'm sharing my story or my experiences with you so that you can hear it and say, oh, well, maybe that's happening to me. I have to think. So we'll be talking more about this throughout this month, but I just wanted to share with you the predictability and the shockingness that can occur when you're stuck in this cycle of narcissistic abuse. And that's what it is. It's the narcissist has taken on a cycle of abuse to one individual, and it profits them, and it's filled with manipulation, and it's filled with guilt, and it's filled with shame, and it all cycles back around. And so I want to thank you for joining us today, and I hope this has helped you to at least start to think about these characteristics, these relationships in your life, if they are there. If they're not there, maybe you can help someone else. We're all here to help each other. We're all in this together. And I just want you to remember that whatever you're struggling with, whatever challenges you're having, you do not have to suffer alone.